Hey, what's going on YouTube? I thought I'd change the scenery a little bit. In case anyone was wondering why I always wear the same thing, I try to go to the gym before work. It's empty most of the time because the outdoor space. And there's no broccoli heads. And there's no douchebags other than myself right now recording. So I'm not going to be that guy going in and recording all sorts of stuff. But I will see you guys in a bit. Alright, see you guys. Alright guys, on the way to work. I'm trying landscape mode. I had a few comments that maybe I'll get more viewership. Maybe something as simple as that would get me more viewers. That'd be nice, right? In the past, when I first started this channel, I recorded several iterations of what this video is about, but it was all just not focused, and then I would trail off talking about the stock market and Tesla. And I'm always going to talk about the stock market. I think you guys know that by now. But I did want to keep this video focused on health. Focus on your health first, and you'll be surprised at your success in the stock market and all facets of your life. The brain is an organ, and if you don't take care of your body and your brain and its balance of happy chemicals, your dopamine levels, then your mental health will suffer. We live in the current system we have relegated a lot of us to live this sedentary lifestyle where a lot of us are stuck in an office with artificial lights that emit a lot of blue light. These days, since everyone's addicted to their smartphone, that's another source of blue light that is just generally not good for you. And these glasses right here, I wear them a lot. They're blue light sunglasses. I try to wear them especially towards at night because blue light will affect your sleep habits and stuff. We're sitting ourselves to death. We're not getting enough physical activity, strenuous exercise. We're not outdoors getting enough sunlight and natural vitamin D. They continue to lower the quality of our food and water. They straight up poison our food and water. And it's no surprise that America is one of the most unhealthy countries in the world, despite us being the leader in the first world countries. And that is by design. You know, they don't want a population of healthy, clear-headed individuals that can be independent thinkers and make good decisions. That does not work for them. You are more likely to believe something if you go into this doom negative spiral, scrolling TikTok and YouTube and all these other things. If you watch something and hear something enough, you start to believe it. So I want to remind you guys that health is of the utmost importance. Health is wealth. It's such a cliche saying. People for whatever reason, they neglect their health. For a long period of my life, I was the same. My parents immigrated from Korea. They were blue-collar workers. They had it tough. If this sounds familiar, Asian parents are always strict with doing good in school and you got to earn money and get a good job. And of course that's true to a certain extent, but they're missing a large part of the equation, which is focusing on your health. But sometimes focusing on your health is a luxury. My parents, they didn't have the luxury or time to exercise or work on their health. They're too busy busting their asses trying to provide a good living for me and my brother growing up. But I really wonder and wish sometimes that if my father was in a slightly better position, that he could have stressed the importance of health and physical activity, encouraged me to focus on sports or whatever, because that would have counterbalanced a lot of things in my life and would have probably made me perform even better in school and the SATs and getting into a better whatever. I don't know. Did I tell you I'm a freaking college dropout? So just another reminder, you're listening to a dumbass right now. But I was the typical Asian bookworm, but I dropped out of college, joined the military. Now I work and I'm doing this. So let's keep it more focused. I try to make sure I go to the gym. I fall off the wagon just like anyone else. But the more you work out and the more routine it becomes, if you have bad weeks, it's easy to jump back on that horse. I had a couple of videos ago where I said I had a horrible mood, but I was able to, all right, fuck it. Let's just get back to it. Let's get in the gym. And lo and behold, I feel a lot better. If you see successful people in life, people that have positive energy and people are drawn to them, they're more often than not, they're in shape, they're well put together, they take care of themselves. You know, people are attracted to that. I don't claim to be the smartest guy, the richest guy. I'm definitely not the strongest or most in shape guy. I'm just a scrawny Asian dude, but I think I've struck that fine balance of health and finance and work and family. Someone told me that I always try to remember is, as long as you can fit in your day 20 to 25 minutes of a intense workout, I don't care how busy you are, you can find some time to work out for 20 minutes. Whether it's at home, in your basement or garage or backyard, whether you fit it in during a lunch break, or you're like me and go to the gym before or after work, you can fit in 20 minutes, 25 minutes of strenuous exercise. I don't even bother with cardio. If you're actually working out at the gym hard and not staring at your phone for 10 minutes and doing like 1 or 2 reps, you only need 25 minutes, I would say. And it does a lot of things. Like I said, it increases your happy chemicals. If you're a man, it increases your testosterone levels. I have a good buddy at work. People call him Mr. Vitamin D or Mr. Magnesium. He got me onto, if you can take away anything from this video, I guess it would have to be, make sure your vitamin D levels are good. The sun, as I was saying before, we're in this sedentary lifestyle, isolated indoor, that we are not getting the required vitamin D that we need to function. And vitamin D is one of the most important things you can do for your well-being. If you can't get it through the sun, up your supplement intake. And some of you might be like, yeah, my doctor said my vitamin D levels are fine. You would be surprised how much doctors don't know or give a shit. I recently had a blood test that said my vitamin D levels were too high. It was like in this orange or red number saying you need to lower your supplement intake. And here I am, before I took the blood level, feeling the best I've ever felt. I don't get sick as often, I feel better, I sleep better. Everything is improved, more energy, etc., etc. And they're telling me that, oh no, you need to tone down the vitamin D. This was after I did a strict regimen of making a conscious effort to up my vitamin D levels. So you know why they do that? Because they change the parameters, they move the goalpost. As RFK Jr. says, whatever you think about him, he said it best. It's not the American healthcare system, it's not healthcare, it's sick care. They don't like the fact that I'm healthy and I'm not addicted to all sorts of medications and I'm not going to the doctor and I'm not basically giving them more profit margins. They want you to get sick and get hooked on meds and hooked on all this sort of shit, go in for surgery that doesn't fucking work and all that bullshit. So I looked at that vitamin D level and I didn't tell my doctor, but I was like, kiss my ass, I'm gonna continue what I'm doing. Because I'm 42 years old now, but I feel, and I look and feel better than I've ever been. You know, vitamin D, it'll clear up your skin if you have a weird rash that you don't know where it came from. It'll do all sorts of things. Take like 10 to 20,000 IUs and keep upping it. The better you feel, just take more but everything in moderation, of course. Don't down a whole bottle of vitamin D right now after you watch this video. But I guarantee you will feel better over time. Magnesium, I need to take more magnesium. It's specifically to, I guess, if again that friend says, oh, you must be magnesium deficient today, meaning if you lack magnesium, you're more irritable, you get aggravated more. For me, since I'm looking at the stock market all the time, I probably need more magnesium than the average person. So vitamin D and magnesium are key, and of course just take a multivitamin. I know eating clean requires a lot of effort, it's expensive, it's time consuming. Me, thankfully, I'm Korean, and just for the most part, it's a lot healthier than an American Western diet. We're eating a lot of vegetables, kimchi is a staple that is a very healthy for probiotics and such. But I eat like garbage. My guilty pleasure is going to Taco Bell. I'll eat pizza, burgers. I'll eat ramen, which is probably the worst food on the face of the planet, with all sorts of carcinogens and chemicals. But I can balance it out because I I think because of my vitamin D intake and working out, and for the most part, 60-70% of the time trying to eat a little bit better. So just take it slow. It's very hard to get off this death wheel of bad health that they've put us on, but it's possible. If you take care of your body, your mental health will drastically improve. I know another guy from work, he's on, I think he's on leave right now, but he is the most energetic, positive person I've ever met in my entire life. He radiates positivity. Everyone is drawn to him. And he's a big workout guy. He's over 50, but he's in amazing shape. But he recently suffered an injury at work, and he had a bad shoulder injury, a bad wrist injury. I saw him like a month later when he was at his low point. He's like, Vic, I'm depressed, man. And for him to say that to me just gives me a 1000% more conviction that what I'm telling you guys is very, very important. Because if this guy, even he's feeling down, then anyone more susceptible, myself included, to getting depressed, if he can go down, anyone can get down. And it was because he was sitting at home, not being able to work out, and just in his own negative thoughts for an extended period of time. So I can't stress the importance of taking care of your health so you can combat, you struggle with the demon of depression, combat that. Depression, it's a manifestation of your environment and your physical health and the way your lifestyle is. So if you're sleeping in all the time, if you're on your phone or computer all the time just looking at shit next to blue light, if you're eating like shit, if you're drinking beers, if you're not exercising, if you're on meds, antidepressants, you just feed that demon of depression, and it'll just continue to get worse and worse and worse. And your psychiatrist or your therapist prescribing these antidepressants, they're pieces of shit. Don't forget, these people get paid by the hour. So it behooves them to tell you what you want to hear, to prescribe antidepressants to you, and then you continue to pay them by the hour. You continue to feel worse, so you have to make even more appointments and be like, Doc, I feel worse. Can you tell me something to make me feel better? Yeah, sure. Just remember my rates went up, and here, try these pills too. Depression, I implore anyone who is on medication, as tough as it may be, to go on vacation where you're with friends and family, you're outdoors, you're gonna do some physical activity, and just go cold turkey off your meds. All right? Use that as a little jump start, because just maybe you'll have enough happy chemicals to say, fuck this, I'm not doing these antidepressants anymore. And then do everything else I said. Go to the gym, up your vitamin D, eat clean, and you'll be amazed, and you'll be kicking yourself that you didn't try it sooner. And I know it's tough, but it gets easier over time. You just gotta take it step by step, little by little. I don't want to preach. I'm not the perfect picture of health. I have a lot of improvements I can do in my own life. And if you guys have fitness guys or health guys, I know my friend from work that I mentioned always tells me to watch Dr. Robert Malone videos, but I don't listen to him as much as I should. But please post in comments regarding, I'm gonna try to keep it focused, mostly on health. I know I always go on tangents talking about other stuff, but everything is by design. You've heard me say, and you'll continue to hear me say, they want us to be unhealthy. And I wanted to make this video and stress the importance because, okay, there's a lot of doom and gloomers, and most of my videos talks about this stuff, like the global elites have got us by the balls, and I talk about these negative subjects, and that is not enough to keep you guys tuning in, right? Who wants to listen to some guy bitch all the time and not provide, okay, I present the problem, but am I providing any value or solutions for you guys? So I want to do better in making videos such as this one to provide some advice that maybe for whatever reason you feel like you might want to listen to my dumbass, because the system is stacked against us and we need to do what we can in our health in our finances to protect ourselves and our family. If this just motivates just one person, maybe just give it a shot and get off meds, then that's good enough for me. And if it works for them, maybe they'll tell someone else, you know, I listened to this idiot on YouTube and you know what, it worked. And then maybe pay it forward and so on and so forth. So it's worth it for me to record this and talk to you guys about it. And I will do better in the future balancing out my video topics instead of harping about how much I hate Elon and Tesla all the time. So how does health directly pertain to the stock market? I'll try to give you a story real quick. So shout out to the PMT Discord. I will put a link here. They have a subreddit and they have a pretty active Discord, which the moderator, Love of Profit, shout out to my brother, Love of Profit, one of the best traders I know, despite him being hard on himself these days. But this group of traders utilizes portfolio margin trading. Just YouTube or Google it. It gives you an edge if you're selling options. But I maintain that this is the highest quality of people, anonymous internet users that you can get. They're witty, they're clever, they're smart, they're ahead of the curve, and they typically outperform their market. That said, a lot of them got crushed in the April tariff tantrum because it's not every day that the volatility index spikes to 60. The VIX, if you guys don't know, VIX is a measure of fear in the market. When people are buying more puts as hedge protection and there's more fear. 30 is bad. 40 is like, what the fuck is going on? 50 and 60 is Armageddon, Black Swan level events. And we were 60 plus for 2 days. Myself, I would have lost, if we had another negative 5% day during the tariff tantrum in April, I probably would have gotten margin called and would have eaten a 400K loss. I managed to not realize any losses. Some other these people in the Discord were not so lucky, and I feel for these guys because it was just manufactured bullshit. So my point of health, and so how does this relate to health? I'll tell you what. I happened to be in Panama City with my family for business and pleasure, and April tariff tantrum happened the last day or two I was there. But prior to that, we had a full week of Panama's hot and it's really sunny, and we were out, me, my wife, and my son were out and about getting lots of sunlight, lots of vitamin D. We were sweating our asses off, walking a lot and just exploring the city and seeing what they had to offer. And this allowed me to bank, if you will, allowed me to bank a bunch of happy chemicals. You know me, guys, I'm bipolar as shit and my mood level sucks. So my maximum capacity, my energy container of happy chemicals only can hold so much. But the Panama City trip allowed me to max it out, right? And then April tariff tantrum occurs. So I was able to look at it with mental clarity that time. I managed my portfolio and buying power as best as I could. And I told myself, this is a buying opportunity, right? Warren Buffett says, buy the fear, sell the greed. But when it's happening in real time, it is so difficult to practice that because you got everyone on Twitter panic selling. You got everyone around you panic selling. You got fucking Charles Schwab calling you saying you're about to get margin called. It's very, very hard to maintain a clear head and make the right moves. But as I said, I had mental clarity. I knew this is a buying opportunity, and I get pissed at myself because another shout out to Tao, throwaway options. I didn't blame him at the time because he was going through his own shit. But I saw on Trade Discussion channel that right at the very beginning of the tariff tantrum, and I'm like, okay, this guy, despite what he says, he's a good trader. He's ahead of the curve. Let me follow this motherfucker. That spiraled into like a 50, 60K loss at the lows, which handicapped me because it took so much buying power that I wasn't able to take advantage of the discounts available. So fuck you, throwaway options. I saw later that he closed it out. I didn't notice that he closed it out, but I doubled down and tripled down, and it just spiraled out of control. But whatever, I'm just kidding. He's a good dude, and I don't blame him at all. But despite that, it really handicapped me, and it sucked, but I wasn't able to take full advantage of the opportunity. But I did what I could. I bought a lot of AMD, which fast forward, I bought AMD, some of them at the lows from 80 all the way up to 100. And that turned into, right now I'm at like a $60,000 profit just from April, guys. I had no AMD up until then. I was able to buy a little Coinbase. I bought turd Tesla, as always. So fast forward, I was able to get profit off of all that when unfortunately a lot of my PMT brothers and sisters took heavy losses. And I was very close to being like one of them. And now here they are, they realize the losses only for it to fucking V-shape, rebound, and now we're at all-time highs. We continue to make new all-time highs, and people are like, well, just jump back in. It's so fucking hard. It reminds me of myself in 2021. I was trying to actively short the market because I saw irrational exuberance. But when you're on the sidelines in cash and you see the market going higher and higher, and you see all these meme companies and Palantir and all this bullshit that continues to go higher, you can't help but get even more bearish. You're like, what the fuck? This is ridiculous. All right, I'm gonna hang tight and I'm gonna short when things get crazy. So there's still, some of them are like very bearish and they're not gonna jump in at the new highs. It's impossible to jump at the new highs. Literally, it's the hardest thing to do, to sell low and then buy it back in higher. Fuck that, I get it. I understand why they're super bearish. But you see that drastic, they made the right decision at the time. So again, LOP, you don't need my justification, or you don't need me to tell you that you made the right decision. So you will make it back. There's a reason you're the moderator of PMT. You're gonna make it all back and then some. But I'm just trying to illustrate the fact, me personally, had I been not working out, had I not been in Panama getting physical activity and getting vitamin D, just doom scrolling Reddit and YouTube and being miserable at work prior to the tariff tantrum, I know for a fact that I would have panic sold at the lows, because I would have already had negative thoughts. I would have already been like, oh my God, I know this is fake, but what if it's real? What if Trump is truly trying to crash the market? Like that motherfucker Chamath Pulipatia, I call him Scamath. That motherfucker was on Twitter telling his 1 million or so followers that Trump doesn't give a shit about the market and he's gonna crash it. Basically that's what he was saying. Telling all his followers that, yeah, you better get out of the market because it's gonna go lower. But me, in my weird way of thinking, I know he's part of the club. He's one of the global elites. He has scammed people time and time again. So to me, I saw that and I was another reason to be like, no, fuck that. This is a buying opportunity and I ain't fucking selling unless I'm forced to liquidate because I'm too over leveraged. And I was right. My portfolio, despite Tesla, is like negative 20% for the year. I'm up 20% of the year. And April Tantrum and AMD is a huge part of that. It's just my weird way of thinking, guys. If you've watched any of my videos, that you know I have this inverse mentality. Whatever the mainstream media tell me, I know the opposite is true. It's just that how far are they gonna take it? So in the moment, it is very real, of course. I was down 400K at the lows. It's very real. But the reasoning they give you is bullshit. You guys following me? So you have to, that's why I'm super conservative in my option selling. You know, I could go way more aggressive and probably make $10,000 a month easily from options selling. But had I been aggressive leading up to April tariff tantrum, I would have gotten fucked. Because you never know when the ultra wealthy are gonna pull some screw job. So I hope I made some sort of sense with that. Yeah, just everything is just as that same friend would say, Mr. Magnesium would say, everything is a rich man's trick. And it is so true. Remember, who controls the media? Who controls X and Twitter? The rich do. And what do the rich do? They like to screw over the little guy. So guys, I think I've rambled long enough. I know I went on a tangent with the stock market again, but I'm here to try to guide some of you, anyone who's willing to listen, to focus on your health and focus on your wealth. That's the best we can do, right? And I will try not to be so negative in the future. You know, the world isn't perfect. I bitch as much as anyone, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's a lot of bullshit going on in this world. A lot of, human rights travesties, a lot of suffering, all these proxy wars. But it's fucked up to say we are the direct beneficiaries of all the sketchy stuff that our leaders do. America, if you were born in America, you won the cosmic lottery. So don't waste it. The world isn't perfect, but God or whoever or the powers that be gave you this opportunity to live in this golden age of peace and prosperity. In this country at least. So don't waste it. The world isn't perfect, guys, but it's the best we got. Before everyone says YOLO way too much, but when you go back to the original meaning of it, yes, you only live once. So don't waste it. Try to control what you can control. And again, you can control your health and your finances. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will try to make a little more content that isn't always talking about Tesla and other stuff. And I wanted to also maybe do some option selling tutorials. I've had people tell me that I can have a way of explaining it that, the mouth breather could understand. Not that you guys are that, but meaning I can break it down and say it in a way that is pretty easy to follow. If you're interested in learning how to do option selling, please give me some feedback so I know that there is demand for it. All right, enough rambling. Guys, stay healthy, stay wealthy, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, peace. Take care.